Wofan partners Bayero University Kano to empower women in agribusiness skills. Zulum announced 100% increase of rural allowance for medical doctors and nurses. Tinubu urged Nigeria to stay hopefully in 2026. Good evening and welcome to Human News at 5. I'm Rakaya Sana Abdullahi. The Women Farmers Advancement Network WOFAN, in collaboration with the Center for Rural and Agriculture CDA and the Faculty of Agriculture Bayero University Kano, have entered into a partnership to train 1,300 agriculture students annually in agribusiness, value addition, processing and production under the Siblings Project. The partnership was disclosed on Wednesday during a courtesy visit to the Vice Chancellor of Bayero University Kano, Professor Haruna Musa, by a joint delegation from WOFAN and CDA and the Faculty of Agriculture. Speaking during the visit, Salamata Garba explained that the initiative aims to change the narrative around women and youth participation in agriculture by equipping them with practical skills, access to land, farm input, financial inclusion, and granted markets. On his part, the chairman of the WOFAN board, Sani Miko, expressed appreciation to the Vice Chancellor for supporting what he described as a critical as a credible and sustainable partnership. Receiving the delegation, Professor Haruna Musa, the Vice Chancellor of Bayero University, commended the initiative, describing it as a strategic intervention for youth and women empowerment that will meaningfully encourage more youths, women and even persons with disability to value agriculture as the backbone of the economic growth in any nation. In his remarks, the director of CDA, Professor Sunusi Muhammad Gaya, highlighted the long-standing collaboration between CDA and WOFAN, noting that the partnership has recently expanded to include access to a national storage facility secured through the National Storage Productivity Institute of Nigeria. Also speaking, the Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, Professor Muhammad Awal Hussain, expressed optimism that the partnership will yield positive results. He said the initiative will empower and equip many students with relevant skills and thank WOFAN for its unwavering support. Borno State Governor Babagana Umara Zulum has announced the scale of the rural allowance for medical doctors and nurses serving under the state's hospital management board, approving 100% and 4% and 40% of their total salaries respectively. Zulum made the announcement on Tuesday while briefing newsmen after an extensive inspection tour of key projects in the northern part of the state. The governor's tour include an assessment of government secondary school Gubiyo, 2 general hospital and ongoing housing exits in both Gubiyo and Magurumi local government area of the state. Speaking on the reasons for the allowance hike, Zulum stated that from 1st January, all medical doctors working in rural communities identified by the Hospital Management Board will receive 100% increments equal to their total salaries. At the same time, nurses and midwives will receive 40%. At the government secondary school GSS Gubiyo, Zulum described the immediate provision of necessary facilities for all laboratories and library. Governor Zulum was accompanied by the senator representing Borno North, Muhammad Tahir Mungunu, House of Representative member Usman Zanna and Bukar Talba. The Senate has called on the federal government to urgently introduce broad-based agricultural input subsidies, particularly for fertilizers and other farm input, to address the growing crisis facing Nigerian farmers amid falling produce price and persistently high production costs. He called for the adoption of a motion sponsored by Senator Muhammad Danjuma Goje, which highlighted the widening gaps between declining farm gate price and the soaring cost of inputs as a major threat to the livelihood of millions of farmers across the country. Leading the debate, Senator Goje urged the federal government to prioritize investment in critical agricultural infrastructure such as storage facilities, rural road processing centers, and irrigation system to produce post-harvest losses and improve farmers' profitability. The Senate commended the federal government for steps taken to produce food prices nationwide through waiver and special permits for large-scale food importation, noting that the measure had brought relief to consumers. You are listening to Human News at 5. Stay tuned as we explore different into agricultural news update after a short break. Welcome back. The National Agricultural Development Fund (NADF) has begun a strategic review of its farm input supply program, engaging processors and other agribusiness stakeholders to refine delivery system and improve agricultural productivity nationwide. The review formed the focus of a stakeholders roundtable with processors held in Lagos, where lessons from the pilot phase of the program were examined alongside proposal for a more efficient and responsive second phase. Speaking at the forum, the executive secretary of NADF, Muhammad Ibrahim, said the fund was committed to strengthening its intervention framework through evidence-based learning and continuous process improvement. He explained that the pilot phase was designed to test mechanisms for improving access to quality input across different grower systems, but knowledge that operational challenge affect planting timeline and yield. Away from that, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has urged Nigerians to remain hopeful for a prosperous new year in 2026. The reforms undertaken by his administration are yielding results and moving the country in the right direction. Tinubu gave the charge in his New Year's goodwill message to Nigerians. He said his administration believes that a decentralized policy system which provides safeguard and complemented by forest guard was critical to effectively addressing security challenges. Speaking on the economic outlook, Tinubu said his focus in 2026 will be on consolidating gains and building a resilient, sustainable, inclusive and growth-oriented economy. The president said the new year marked a critical phase in the implementation of tax reforms aimed at building a fair and competitive fiscal system. The president expressed optimism that 2026 will usher in a more robust phase of economic growth with tangible implementation in the lives of Nigerians. Tinubu calls on Nigeria to lead their part in achieving national objectives in the new year. To the end the news, the headlines once again. Wofan partners Bayero University Kano to empower women in agribusiness skills. Zulum announces 100% increase of rural allowance for medical doctors and nurses. Tinubu urged Nigerians to stay hopeful in 2026. On behalf of Human News and Current Affairs Department, I am Ruqayya Sana Abdullahi. Thank you for the privilege of your time.